Welcome back to the What's Next series here on Rick Knows Hoops. And today we're going to be talking about the New Orleans Pelicans. I could see if you like their offseason or if you didn't like it. I'm kind of stuck in the middle because I'm not really sure what their total direction is, but I do like some of the moves that they made. And we'll see how they work once, they actually go out and play on the court. But I think some of the moves they made were good. Some of them may be a little questionable. But let's talk about it, man. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. It's a channel where we talk about NBA basketball, so if you love hoops, this is the place for you. And the Pelicans offseason really started a long time ago because they were convinced that they weren't going to pay Lonzo Ball $20+ million, which he ended up getting from the Chicago Bulls. And we're going to talk about that transaction in a second. But the Pelicans, the first move they made this offseason was getting off of the contracts of Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe. And I think I speak for a lot of basketball minds, a lot of people who watch the NBA, probably Pelicans fans. We don't really know what they were doing when they brought in those two players last offseason. We weren't really sure why they decided to take flyers on Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams and then give Steven Adams an extension before he even played a game last season. It was very confusing move by the Pelicans front office, and it never really materialized on the court last season at all. Of course, the Stan Van Gundy move was also one that was not loved in the NBA community. I'm glad to see that they went a different direction, bringing in Willie Green to be a first-time head coach. I think he'll be able to relate a lot more to these young players, and I just think that that's the right direction to go, is to get a younger coach that can relate to these young guys, maybe more of a player-oriented coach. So that's another move that they made. But getting rid of Bledsoe and Steven Adams was a very good move, and I think the return that they got was good. They ended up trading down to the 17th pick. They had the 10th pick, traded down to the 17th pick, and they got back Jonas Valanciunas, which I think can be a good big this season next to Zion because he can stretch the floor a little bit. He's not a lights-out three-point shooter for a big man, but he's respectable in that aspect. Also brings a different element to where maybe you can run the offense through him when Zion's not on the floor or something like that. I like that move, and with the 17th pick, they took a guy that they probably wanted to take at 10. They got him at 17 in Trey Murphy. I think prototypical type of 3-and-D wing player to have alongside Zion, to have alongside Brandon Ingram. I really love that move a lot. Now let's get to the signing trade. That the Lonzo Ball signing trade. A lot of people might think that they didn't really get a good return, and I can definitely see if you say that. But I think they still got quality pieces. Maybe not household names, but guys that I think can contribute to winning basketball. They got back Tomas Satoransky, and they also got back Garrett Temple. I think those two players, obviously, they're not franchise changers. They're not guys that are going to come in, average like 15 points a game or anything like that. But I think, they do little things. They defend very well. Garrett Temple can hit the three-point shot. He's a veteran, too, along with Satoransky. I think you need some vets alongside these young guys. And I think they got two guys that can contribute to winning basketball. Obviously, you had to give up Lonzo Ball, but at least you got something in return. Guys that can come in and play decent rotational minutes for you. So I don't think that trade is all the way as lopsided as people want to say, because, the moral of the story is they didn't really want Lonzo Ball back. They've pretty much been preaching that since last offseason. They didn't want to pay Lonzo Ball $20 million a year. And the way Lonzo played last year, he earned a very good payday, which he ended up getting. And the Pelicans, they didn't want to pay him that. So, you got something back in return. I think that's the least that you can ask for. And they were eyeing other point guards anyways, which they struck out on the Kyle Lowry very quickly. But the DeVonte Graham pickup, I think this pickup, I could see if you like it. I can see if you don't like it. I think DeVonte Graham has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because of the way he played last season. But the year before that, he was averaging, I think, 20 points per game. He was MIP candidate. He was shooting 40% from three. And his percentages took a big dip last season, and his volume was still there. But I think he's going to have a defined role in this team. I don't really know if the role was as defined last season in Charlotte because Terry Rozier took a big step forward. LaMelo Ball comes in and makes his impact felt right away. And there wasn't really a lot of room for DeVonte Graham to be the player that he was the year before. Now I think in New Orleans he can be that guard that can shoot the ball, space the floor out. And now he doesn't need the ball in his hands. That's the beauty of it. He doesn't need the ball in his hands. So now you can have the ball in Zion's hands a lot more. And it's not going to take away from a player like it took away from Lonzo Ball. And you can have the ball in the hands of B.I. a lot more. And it's not going to take away from Lonzo Ball. It's not going to take away from Eric Bledsoe, guys that need the ball in their hand to be effective on the offensive side. So I think this move, you did have to give up a first-round pick in the signing trade to get DeVonte Graham. But I do believe this is a low risk, and I think it can be a high reward type of move. Even though you gave up the pick, you can only have so many draft picks, man. And they got a bundle of draft picks. You can only draft so many players, so you might as well use those picks to get players that can come in and help you right away. And I think that move is a good one. I think it's going to pay off. I think DeVonte Graham's going to surprise a lot of people this season, and hopefully he gets back to the form that he was his second year in the league. And I also just think moves like this can really help elevate the games of a Zion, the games of a Brandon Ingram. Because like I said, the ball can be in their hands a lot more now, and Zion was most effective last season playing kind of a point forward type role. That's when he was most effective. He's shown the ability to be a pretty capable passer. And he's had, he's an all-star last season, and there's only, more room for growth for him coming into this season. I think Brandon Ingram, even though he had a very good season last year, he wasn't an all-star, but I think he still has maybe another gear that he can step into. And I'm excited to see just how those guys grow together. I do like the moves that they made. We'll see what happens with Jackson Hayes. I know he got into some legal trouble, so I'm not sure what's happening with him, but we'll see how that, issue affects, this team. Trying to see if I missed any moves. They drafted a guy, Herbert Jones. They brought in Dante Holmes. But yeah, I like what they did. They also lost James Johnson, but I think he can be replaceable. I like what this team did, man. I really do. Speaking of just the head coaching, I think Willie Green's gonna make the most of his opportunity, and he got a lot of great experience in Phoenix, coaching. Behind Monty Williams. They made a finals run, of course, last season. I think that experience can help bode well. I think he'll be respected. He's a former player. I think he played 10 plus years in the league. Very respected guy around the NBA. I really do love the move of getting Willie Green in, and the pressure's on this front office, man, of the Pelicans, because we heard the rumblings that Zion's camp is not happy with the way that the Pelicans are being managed right now. So the pressure's on. I think David Griffin's still the GM. The pressure's on him right now and that front office to make moves that lead to winning, that lead to making the playoffs, I mean, I think all the pressure's on this team now. Younger players are starting to voice their frustrations a lot more. I talked about that in my video on the Mavericks, how Luka was supposedly a little unhappy. Yeah, you got off Anthony Davis without much success. And you got another number one pick and a guy that Zion Williamson that could potentially be one of the faces of the league someday. You can't mess this up, man. You got to put pieces around him to win games, and you got a solid foundation. You just got to put it together. And I think last offseason could have set them back, but I like what they did this offseason. I think they made moves that were necessary to get this team back on track. I think they have the talent to be a competitor, at least a playing team. I think they have the talent, no doubt about it. It's just about putting it together on the court. They can't be one of the worst defenses in NBA history. They got to step it up on that end of the floor. That's why I think, look, we don't really know what Willie Green's coaching style is, but I believe they'll be much improved defensively, and I think we'll see the steps of growth between players like Zion, like Brandon Ingram, even a guy like DeVonte Graham. I think we'll see those guys step their games up to a new level. They also brought Josh Hart back. I think that's a big-time move. Just a nice little glue guy to have on your team. We'll see if maybe they can get some more shooting on this team, because you can never have too much spacing around guys like Zion and B.I. But for the most part, I'm more of a fan than a critic of their offseason. But we'll see how it plays out. Once the season starts, we'll see how these pieces work together. We'll see if the DeVonte Graham pickup was worth it. We'll see if they miss Lonzo Ball. We'll see a lot. We will see a lot about this team. But I'm excited to watch this young team continue to grow, and hopefully they can hit that next step this season. And I'll definitely be tuned in, and y'all should too. But that's going to be the end of this one. Be sure to tune in next time, because I might be talking about your favorite team. This is the What's Next series, New Orleans Pelicans edition, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.